This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. It's Wednesday, January 19th, 2022. I'll be doing another Let's Talk About the News live stream tonight at 6:30 p.m. U.S. Central Time on Twitch and Instagram. These have been a lot of fun so far. Thanks to everybody who's been showing up, saying hi, asking questions, talking about today's stories, or just chatting about general newsy things. If you're keen to check it out, my Instagram is at ColinIsMyName, and I am Virtual Colin on Twitch. I hope to see you there. That said, let's talk about the news. From the New York Times, Microsoft to acquire Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion. Microsoft, which owns the Xbox platform and numerous video game world intellectual properties, is planning to acquire Activision Blizzard, the company behind video games like Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Candy Crush, for about $68.7 billion. If this deal goes through, and the regulatory environment being what it is, approval isn't a sure thing. This'll be a bigger purchase than LinkedIn, which Microsoft acquired for $26 billion in 2016, and almost as much as Disney paid for Fox back in 2019. The price tag on that deal was about $71.3 billion. This acquisition is being pitched by Microsoft's CEO as a fleshing out of their video game studio offerings, which will give them more exclusives to better compete with rival Sony's PlayStation, but also as a portfolio of intellectual property they can leverage throughout theoretical metaverse offerings as new virtual platforms arise. That said, this potential acquisition is happening in the midst of numerous workplace misconduct scandals within Activision Blizzard, and so far, about 36 employees have been fired or pushed out of the company for their behavior, and 40 others have been disciplined, all of which could muck up the deal, or at the very least, make it a more complicated public relations gauntlet than it may have otherwise been. From Axios, Directv to remove conservative news network OANN. Directv, a satellite TV company owned by a private equity firm called TPG, and communications company AT&T, has announced it will no longer distribute the far-right One America News Network station after the current contract, which reportedly ends in April of 2022, expires. This is an interesting story because OANN got popular when former President Trump started promoting their shows, and he seemed to promote them because they more or less repeated everything he said unquestioningly, and gave and continue to give special attention to debunked conspiracy theories he favored. That said, this is also a story about how whole political demographics can have their megaphones taken away by corporate entities that decide to cut them off. This expiring deal with Directv, alongside deals with a few other AT&T affiliated networks, reportedly account for about 90% of OANN's total revenue. And from Reuters, U.S. households can order 4 free COVID tests starting today. The U.S. government has launched a website through which Americans can order free at-home COVID-19 tests, 4 per household, scheduled to be shipped out about 7 to 12 days after the order is placed. And that website is covidtests.gov. This is newsworthy because although the U.S. has had a few pandemic-related victories, especially related to the development and aspects of the distribution of vaccines, it's been consistently underperforming when it comes to testing, with at-home tests in some cases disappearing from shelves entirely, only available at hospitals or clinics. If this service works, and it did for me yesterday, as the site actually opened up a day early to make sure everything was operating as planned, and if the tests go out at a decent clip, this could help fill in some of the US's current pandemic tracking and treating gaps. though this effort may turn out to be too little too late, as the tests being sent out haven't been great at detecting Omicron. And there's a chance that by the time they start arriving, probably in late January, the current wave will already be subsiding. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com. And you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts, at understandery.com.